Well, we have it's 12:01, so we're gonna get started. I wanna welcome you all for coming today. I'm excited to see all of you, and even if I don't get to see your smiley face, I am happy that you're here, that you join us today. I'm going to share the PowerPoint to guide the presentation. Um, okay, there he is. So the blue zones. I want to tell you why I was so excited to learn about the blue zones. I have a grandma, or had a grandma, and she lived to be up to 104 years old. And I love that grandma. Her name was Guadalupe Rodriguez Castro. She lost her eyesight when she was very young. I'm going to say when she was 40 or 50. And so she went throughout her life without being able to see. But she was the most cheerful and kind and easygoing. And to keep herself busy, she needed scarves. So for Christmas, we will all get a scarf for Grandma Lupita. That's what we call her, Abuelita Lupita. And so anyway, I just really love my grandma, and I was so impressed that she lived such a long, happy life. And so when I found out about the blue zones, which are areas where population live to be older than 100 years old, I was so happy because they remind me of my grandma. And also, I wanted to find out if I was doing the right things, so that I can be as old as my grandma. I just really want to live a long life. So, and in addition to that, I just felt like I wanted to share all of that with you guys. So here we go. So you guys can see the PowerPoint, right? Yeah, I got a thumbs up. Okay, so this is how the blue zone started. There was a couple of researchers, and you excuse me if I butchered the names, but the first one was Giannini Pes, and the second one was Michael Pauline. These two researchers are the ones that identified the Sardinia, Italy, as a region with the highest concentration of centenarians, so individuals that were living past 100 years old. Uh, and they took this research to a conference, and everybody kind of laughed at them a little. They're like, ha ha ha, this cannot be possible. But this other researcher, Dan Wetner, a light bulb came turned on his brain, and he said, wait a minute, there is something happening here. I want to know more about it. So he contacted these two individuals, and they're the ones that explain what a blue zone was in Sardinia, Italy, which was the region that had the most male centenarians. And so Dan Wetner, working with National Geographic, decided that he was going to investigate more this blue zone in Sardinia, Italy. And so he was able to obtain some funding from National Geographic and also from, I believe, from the NCOA. Just a minute. Just a minute. Yeah, the National Geographic and the National Institute on Aging. Wait, now I'm confused about what I'm showing to you guys. I'm gonna go back. There. So the funding came from the National Geographic and the National Institute on Aging so that he can go back to Sardinia, Italy, and confirm that region as a blue zone. So him, so here's a little bit more information about him. He took a team of investigators and he traveled to Sardinia, Italy, and he confirmed that that was a blue zone because it had a good number of centenarians. And based on that, he decided to travel to another areas. He went to Okinawa, Japan, Nicoya, Costa Rica, Icaria, Greece, Loma Linda, California. And for them to be able to confirm that those older adults were centenarians, they had to do a lot of research. They had to check the birth records and they have to verify their identity. And so once they have done that at each area and they identify the centenarians, then that's when they proceeded to interview them and study their culture and the area where they live and learn about them and possibly come up with some answers to why they are why they live for so long on those areas. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what they found on every area. And then at some point we're going to have a little chat. So this is where the areas are. I kind of already mentioned, but the first one that was identified was in Sardinia, Italy. Then they have Okinawa, Japan, Nicoya, Costa Rica, Loma Linda, California, and Icaria, Greece. Okay, and we are going to talk about the first four. We're not going to go over the one in Greece because I don't think we'll have enough time. Okay. Okay, so as I mentioned, Sardinia, Italy was the very first one that was identified, and it had a lot of male centenarians. So while they were visiting this uh, area, they found out that the centenarians were very family oriented. Most of them were already living with or were living with their sons, daughters, and grandkids, and they work the land together. They most of them also had were shepherds. That means they had goats and sheep, and they work the of the land and live from what they were able to profit from their sheep. In this town of Sardinia, the celebration for the elders was is very common. So every time that an elderly person has a birthday, especially if it's past 100 years old, they had a big celebration for them. And it was not just a family affair, but it was the whole community will come together to celebrate those centenarians. And so they knew each other, they had a community, they supported each other, they were good neighbors. And then as I mentioned that they were all they're shepherds, so they did a lot of walking throughout the day. They had to spend a lot of time walking their sheep. They like to drink wine, but not they didn't abuse it. I'm gonna say I can't think of a word. They just drank 1 or 2 cups of wine or glasses of wine, and they laughed with their friends. They spent a lot of time when they were done working. They spent a lot of time with their friends. Weekend was a time to spend with the friends and also to celebrate and all that. So those are the most significant things that they found out when they were over there in Sardinia, Italy. Just give me just a minute here. I trying to arrange my screen. So, okay. The next area that they went is Okinawa, Japan. And these are the things that they found more peculiar about Japan, and the things that they believe to help these older adults become centenarians. So the very first one, and probably the most important, is that in Japan, Okinawans embrace ikagi. And I hope I'm saying it right. Monica can tell me if I'm not. Ikagi means to find a reason to live, okay? A purpose. Why are you here in this world, in this earth, and why are you alive? Um, the other thing that they found is that they relied on a plant-based diet. So they eat a lot of stir fries, vegetables, and these stir fries contain sweet potato, tofu, and other vegetables. One of the curious things that they found is that the people in Okinawa did not eat a whole lot of meat. They ate some pork, and they reserve it for uh, like celebrations, in occasion. And also, they only had small amounts. Another thing they found is that most of them grow gardens, and the gardens are a source of physical activity. So that's how they exercise, by taking care of the gardens. By that was their that was their movement. And next thing is that they stay in, they enjoy the sun. As you know, uh, the sun help you produce vitamin D, and vitamin D promotes to strong bones and healthier body. So they were, that's another thing that they do. The next one is um, the Okinawan household doesn't have a lot of furniture among them. They mostly sit on the floor to enjoy the meals. And these going up and down, getting up the floor and down the floor, helps them to straighten their lower body, and helps them to keep their balance. And the balance protects them from falling. And then the one last thing that they observe among the Okinawa population is that they had a great attitude towards life. So their philosophy is that the difficult things of the past, difficult moments, difficult memories of the past, stay in the past. And now that on today, we need to enjoy the simple things in life. So they're just very focused on the present, on what's happening now, and enjoying that. Okay. The next location that they traveled to is Nicoya, Costa Rica. Just give me a second. Yeah, Nicoya, Costa Rica. What they found out here is that they have, again, a strong sense of purpose. So they have a plan de vida, because in Costa Rica they speak Spanish, so they have a plan de vida. So, uh, um, yeah, a purpose on their life. They feel the need, and they want to contribute to the greater good. And they also found out that the water in Nicoya has high calcium content, and this could be an explanation of why the population in Nicoya have strong bones. They are very similar like the people in Sardinia. They like to live with their family, their children, and their grandchildren. And by doing this, it gives them a sense of purpose and a sense of belonging. They also eat fewer calories, and they have the last meal of the day in the early evening. And they also like to spend time with friends, to laugh, and play, and appreciate what they have. All the centenarians in Nicoya also kept working until they were older. They had a lot of physical work, a lot of chores around the house, and this kept them moving, moving their bodies, which helped them with weight control and just to stay active in general. And then they also enjoy the sunlight, and they embrace ancestors and their heritage, and they like to honor it. So again, these individuals from Nicoya, they had really strong ties with the community, with their friends and their ancestors. The next one is Loma Linda, California. And some of you probably know this area of Loma Linda. Uh, some of the things that they found, this one is the centenarians that they found in Loma Linda, California, are from a group. Um, and I want to tell you the name, but I don't think I'm going to say it right. Um, Advantaists. Is that a word, Monica? No. Yeah? Vicky, I think Vicky's nodding. It's just, I believe, it's just a group that just live on their own
Seventh-day
community.
Adventist is what it
There
is.
you go.
Yeah.
They're Adventist. So they're just I want to give you an example of another community like them, but I can't think of it. So there's just a group that live in Loma Linda. They kind of live away from the rest of the community, and they grow their food there. They just really keep to themselves. And that's where they found the centenarians. And it's interesting to notice that also in Sardinia and in Nicoya, those groups of centenarians were away from the communities. They live in some really remote regions, um, where they have to, where you really have to travel to get there. And it's the same thing with these individuals here in Loma Linda, California. Some of the interesting things that they found here is that they consume a lot of nuts. Oh, just a minute before we get to the nuts. um, they like to take a break from life. So they find 24 hours a week or that they can spend to them with themselves. So it's like a Sabbath, like a 24-hour Sabbath that they find to do the things that they like to do, to focus on the person. And so some of these they spend it doing with activities with their family or their friends. Maybe they spend time praying, time in nature. So it's just a time to be with you. So that's the one thing that they found there that was really big. They also do a lot of exercise. Some of the individuals that live in this community were are doctors, and so the way they travel outside the community to their jobs was riding a bike. So they were really always looking for opportunities to exercise, and to just to keep moving. Another thing they found in this area of Loma Linda is that they have friends with the same goals and values, support each other. So because they all live in one community, they all kind of have the similar beliefs, ideas, and then they just supported each other on the same goals. They also were really big eating nuts. And as you have heard, nuts are a good source of protein, and they are good source of healthy fats. The community was is also big in giving to the community, so they find a lot of volunteer opportunities, and this helps them to find a purpose on life. And they were also, their diet was based in legumes, fruits, tomatoes, beans, and other plants. So they also grew their own gardens. And then drink a lot of water. So those are the four regions I wanted to go over. Um, but now I want to ask you guys, what were the most, based on all the information that I have shared with you, what are the most common principles or themes that you heard me telling you from these communities?
Eating a plant-based diet seems to be pretty common.
Yes, that's right. So plant-based diet was something that all of those communities did.
Staying active.
Staying active, correct. And did I mention going to the gym?
No.
No, no, nobody did go to the gym. It was just going for walks, taking care of your garden, riding the bicycle, uh, just moving around the home like the Okinawans. They just did a lot of housework. What else did you notice that was similar?
They like to spend time with each other and as a group.
Yes, yes. So as a group or with families or with friends. And we're finding now that we are humans are social creatures and we really do need to spend time with others. What else did you hear?
It looks like spending time in sunshine was fairly common also.
Yes.
Correct. So just spending some good 20 minutes in the sun, it will, help you produce some vitamin D that will give you a lot of benefits. What else?
It sounds like they might have had their big meal at lunchtime. It
Yes,
said light dinners.
yes, correct. Light dinners. And we kind of keep hearing that, or I keep hearing that, just to have a light dinner before bed. Not Don't try to eat something that's gonna be too heavy and you're not gonna be able to sleep. Any other things that you heard that were similar?
Gardening.
Drinking lots of water.
Yeah, so somebody mentioned gardening. I think that was one of the things that the four communities were doing. Uh, all of them were growing something local from the region, and that's what they consume, what they were growing. None of them went to those stores that we have now. I can't think of any of the names. Um, they just bought, consume what they were able to grow. And then somebody mentioned water. Yes, they were all happy drinking water. Anything else?
I think the folks in Costa Rica and Okinawa had that life plan or life purpose.
Yes, and that's really important, huh? Because sometimes sometimes it happens to me, and I'm like, okay, why am I doing all those things? So it's important to have a purpose, a goal in life, so that it keeps you motivated and keeps you going. Anything else? Okay, so I'm so glad that you share all those comments, because when I was reading the book, I was trying and doing all that research, I was trying to say, oh, okay, it sounds a little bit overwhelming. Which one should I do? Which one should I stick with? And thank goodness for me and for everyone else, uh, the researchers just identify the power nine. This is what they call it. So they said that if we do this nine, we should be able to be in pretty good shape. Okay, so the first one is move naturally. And like we already mentioned, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to run a triathlon. We don't have to lift 50-pound weights. All we have to do is just keep our body moving, walking, working in our yards, working in the home. And we also need to make things a little bit hard for us when, hold on. Oh yeah. We also need to make things hard for ourselves to move ourselves because we live in a society of convenience. So we need to go the extra mile to be able to keep ourselves moving. So we can park far away, we can use the stairs, we can do some stretches at the commercial break. We can also use our hands to, instead of using a snowblower, maybe we can use a shovel. Or instead of using a gas lawnmower, we can use the other one that the power is your strength and your hands. I don't know what you call that one. Also, hold on, somebody's sending messages. Okay, the next one is that we need to have fun while we're moving. Sometimes we do activities, exercises that we do them because we know it's good for us, but we really don't enjoy them. Like, for example, I realized that I really don't like the treadmill. So I'm like, this doesn't do it for me. I'd rather go to an exercise class because I feel like I have more fun with that. So find what you like to do to keep yourself moving so that you can have fun. Okay, the next power nine is to cut calories by 20%. And this is something that the Okinawans do. They only eat 80% of what's in their plate and they leave 20% of it. So having a smaller portions, swap pastas maybe for fruits and vegetables or snacks, change them for some fruits. Eat healthy food instead of junk food. Use smaller plates. Split up your dinner. Like if you go out to eat, instead of eating that big meal, split it up into two. Eat slowly so that you can savor it and enjoy it. And eat sitting down. Sometimes we have the tendency of eating standing up or watching TV, and that just takes the attention from enjoying that meal. Our next power nine is eat a plant-based diet. So the suggestion is that you eat 4 to 6 vegetables a day, and also including fruits, to limit your meat intake. And this is what I found very interesting because from all the 4 communities, meat was only consumed when they had a celebration, when there was somebody's birthday or the town was celebrating something. That was the only time that they had meat. Also, make sure that you're eating beans and nuts. The next one is to drink wine. Now, I am just telling you what the researchers found, but you guys can decide if you want to drink wine or not. That's kind of like more of an individual decision. I don't want you to say, well, Erica said that it's okay to drink wine, so I'm gonna go shopping. No, that's just the recommendation that researchers made. But if you do choose to drink wine, just make sure that it's high quality red wine, and also to enjoy it as maybe as a way to treat yourself or something that you want to share with your friends. But don't overdo it. You only need about 1 or 2 servings of wine for the health benefits. Okay, so be conscious of that. It's just a treat I deserve today. I'm gonna have it, and it's also gonna help me with my health. The number 5 is find your purpose. And we kind of already talk a little bit about this one, but it's important to create a personal mission statement. Why are you getting up early in the morning? What are you passionate about? What is truly important to you? Okay. Also, you can find a partner, someone, like a spouse, a companion, a friend, someone that shares your values, that supports you and what you believe, and encourage you to with those beliefs, and someone who's gonna want to learn something new with you. The next one, very important for our days now when we are loaded with technology, is to take time to relieve stress. There is a lot of, I feel like there is a lot of background chatter all the time because we have the TV and the computer and the music and the family members and the kids and things like that. And so it's hard to relax and to think about yourself, but this is important for you to do. So reduce the noise, the chatter that you have from all those electronic devices. Take some time to spend with yourself. You can meditate. You can just be one thing I really like to do with myself, and that I find it really relaxing, is to go for walks really early in the morning, like 5 or 6 in the morning. And I like it because it's quiet. Everybody's asleep, nothing's happening. And that's a good time for me just to think and enjoy. The next one is number 7 is belong. So this one means to belong to your family, put your family first, be involved in the community, create traditions, practice a religion if you believe in God or any belief that you have, any faith that you have, to practice it, and then find out what's a priority for you. So if your family is a priority, well, spend time with them. And if God is a priority to you, or your faith, then practice that. So the things that are important to you, put them first. Number 8 is love ones first. And this means to love your family and your friends. And like I mentioned, make them a priority, get closer to them, establish traditions, rituals, holidays, so that you can spend them together. And number 9 is to be surrounded by people that share your values. Often enough, we sometimes have those relationships that really don't do anything for us. And we need to change that. We are important and we're valued, and we deserve to spend time with people that believe the same things. So find out who's in your team, who's your coach and your cheerleader, and stick to those people that make you feel special and that you're worth it. And also that support what you believe, your values and your efforts, and that they're going to cheer you in your success to keep you going. Okay, so those are the recommendations from the Blue Zones book and the research that was done. I wanted to show you what's going on here in Utah with centenarians. Okay, ready? Here we go. So here are some facts about centenarians in Utah. There is 119 female centenarians and 48 are male. They live in 15 of the state counties. 24 are World War II veterans. And Utah is projected to have 1,400 centenarians by 2050. If you wanted to learn more about centenarians, there is a website and it's listed here. And there's also this really cool thing that the state does, and I don't know if you're aware of that, but if you or a family member you have, you're gonna turn 100, you can fill out an application, or it's not an application, it's just a form, and submit it to let the state know that you're gonna be a centenarian or that you have a family member. And the state, the governor always has a big birthday party for every centenarian in the state. And it's a lot of fun. And why not? Why miss out on your big birthday party? Do you have any questions about any of this information? Or any comments?
Well,
This is-
somebody.
Let's
Who's-
see. Go ahead.
I was wondered if you noticed any recipes that would be probably popular.
You know, I did not have any recipes, but if you go to the Blue Zones website, they do have a ton of recipes in there. They actually have a cookbook that all the recipes are based on these findings that they did.
And for Americans, we just typically eat a meat diet. So if you can make more recipes that aren't meat-based, like when you make a soup, don't put meat in it. Just make like split pea or lentil or vegetable. There's plenty of just choices that are for vegetarians or vegan. And there's so many meals, and you just have to make sure you're getting your correct protein then too.
Yes.
Do you think that any of these areas were more affluent than others?
I don't think so. I think all those areas, they were I'm gonna say they were what we know as middle class. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore.
Well,
But
I can tell you, Erica, that Sardinia, Italy is from where my family is from. And some of those families are dirt poor. When we were growing up, we used to go visit because my mother's family, part of her family is from Sardinia, and we used to have to go by boat. And we would take them clothes. I mean, this is when I was a child, so I don't remember all of it. But we have pictures, and the one picture and the one story that I remember from my dad, and even then, these folks were living quite a long time with what they call that Mediterranean diet. But one of my mother's cousins was kind of considered the rich man in town because he had a gas stove that he had inside the house, and that was considered wealthy. Now you have to remember this was, probably 50 years ago, but these are my mother's people, and they were dirt poor. So I think socioeconomic status doesn't necessarily have to do with it at all. I
Yeah.
can't speak to the other cultures, but I can certainly speak to Sardinia because I'm hoping that there's a genetics part that's going to help me.
Okay. Yes, thank you for sharing, Vicky. Yeah, I believe from all the reading that I did is that they were communities that were really far away from the big cities, and they really had to rely on what was available in their community. And we're talking about shepherds and gardeners and just older adults that have been retired for many years, and they're just kind of working their land on their own. So I believe that the only, from all of these areas, the only one that did have the people that have the most education was the Loma Linda in California, because they had to leave their community to work, and some of the individuals that live there are doctors, and so they probably had a little higher socioeconomic status. But yeah, it is a good question. Anything else? Any other comments and questions? Okay, so I just wanna remind you about next week. Next week at 2:00, we have the class that is, if COVID-19 was a marathon, how do I get to the finish line? And Dr. Megan Cole is going to be presenting on that. And we're all anxious to get to the finish line. We can see it almost there with all those vaccinations that are happening right now. But I
So
wonder.
she's the head of the resiliency department here at the U. And I read that article and I suggested her because I thought the article was so good. And she said right away, oh yeah, let's do that. So I'm
Awesome.
super excited about it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's great. We're glad that you made that suggestion, and that she is willing to come. Well, I thank you so much for coming. When I do presentations, I don't get this big of a crowd. So you guys have made my day.